And joining me now is legal expert Dave Aronberg. Dave, great to see you as always. We're bringing you back again. How about that?
I love it, Jim. Twice in a week. Thank you.
Twice in a week. Well, and the reason why is because this just in, big news from the legal world. Sandwich guy found not guilty. According to NBC4 here in Washington, a DC man who threw a sandwich at a federal agent in what he called an act of protest this summer was found not guilty of a federal assault charge. Jurors found Sean Dunn not guilty of one misdemeanor assault charge earlier in the day in federal court in D.C. Dunn apparently told local reporters he's glad the trial is over. Dave, this is the hero we need in this moment, so to speak. Your thoughts?
And I love how you use that hero, that double meaning of the word hero. Yes.
Yeah.
They say you can indict a ham sandwich, but here he was not indicted by a grand jury. So maybe the ham sandwich wasn't fresh enough or it was too crusty. We don't exactly know if it was salami, turkey. That was an issue that came up in this trial. And the fact that we're having fun with it shows you why the jury said, what are we doing here? I mean, this is a waste of our time. We have a government shutdown, and you're putting a guy on trial for throwing a wrapped Subway sandwich at a federal officer. And the question for the jury was there bodily harm? Of course not. Or was there reasonable fear of bodily injury? And the victim's own testimony.
Put some mustard on that throw, I should say. But anyway,
Well, if you're wearing a white shirt and someone splats a sandwich on you, it's all mustard. Yeah, okay, maybe. But that's not what happened here. You've got a wrap sandwich. You've got a guy in his body armor, and a sandwich was thrown at him. And if you want to know whether he was in reasonable fear of bodily injury, well, he testified, the victim. And he said, I got all these gag gifts. Someone gave me a stuffed animal that was in the shape of a sandwich and stuff. So it was all fun and games for him. So if the victim is joking about it, why should the jury take it seriously?
Yeah. And I mean, first of all, I wonder if the judge told the prosecution that's the way the cookie crumbles. But, putting that to the side, I mean, this was a ridiculous case to pursue to begin with. I mean, come on. He threw a sandwich. Give me a break.
Well, the fact that a grand jury, which really will indict just about anyone, rejected this. And then Jeanine Pirro, the D.C. U.S. attorney, then said, okay, we'll file a misdemeanor charge where we don't need a grand jury. That was an L. That's a loss. That's a mistake because they've created a hero out of Mr. Dunn, a martyr, a hero. He's now a national celeb. And part of it is not just that he was found not guilty, but also the way that they treated him. Do you know how they got him? They raided his place. Part of the reason why this guy became such a hero to people is the way that law enforcement raided his place. They raided his home in a militarized way to grab him, to arrest him for a nonviolent offense. And this wasn't the type of Mar-a-Lago document raid that Trump complains about, where he was called in advance, the Secret Service was called, and they arranged for a peaceful entrance without guns ablazing to execute a search warrant. No, they sent in 20 militarized agents to arrest him at his home. So this is the reason why he became a folk hero. It wasn't just that he threw a sandwich. It was the way that he was treated by the system. And now you have an acquittal. It's an embarrassment for Jeanine Pirro and law enforcement, the Trump administration. Now you've got a hero that perhaps we do need in this day and age.
Well, yeah. And the other thing, too, that's happening, Dave, is, and going back to jury nullification, is that, I mean, this has been written about here in D.C., that people are just so pissed at, what's been happening with the National Guard coming in and the ICE raids and so on. You're going to have jury pool members saying, you know what, I'm not down with this. And, they may not disclose when they're being selected for a jury that they harbor these kinds of frustrations, and they may get on that jury and say, I'm not going along with this. And I'm just saying it's a fact of life. I'm not encouraging it. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying this is what happens.
Washington, D.C. voted for Trump with like 5% of the vote.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have this grand jury system in D.C. where the grand jurors are part of the resistance, where they are rejecting cases against Trump critics. And this was one of them. And now you have the actual jury saying, what are we doing here? Not guilty. And this wasn't a hung jury. This was a unanimous jury saying not guilty, acquitted. And so it's a real repudiation. I mean, this case should never have been brought. And will it stop Jeanine Pirro and the DC U.S. Attorney's Office from doing this more? No, I don't think so. But I do think combined with Tuesday's election results, it should really give MAGA some pause that they're going in a direction the country does not want them to go.
Right. It was assault with a deli weapon, I guess you could say. At least it wasn't a club sandwich. I'm trying to run through all the puns I can off the top of my head.
You've done this. You got good ones. And I had heard some good ones. I forgot them. I guess that's the difference between you and me. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
I'm just thinking back to when the story broke. I'm just thinking back to all the puns, but just doing the best. But, on a serious note, and this is somewhat related, Dave, we should tackle this just for a second. Apparently down in South Florida, the Justice Department is preparing to issue a series of grand jury subpoenas as part of a investigation into former CIA Director John Brennan. And, they're still trying to go after John Brennan on the Russian interference investigation and claim that he was somehow in cahoots and trying to get Trump. And this is all part of the Trump retribution campaign, my characterization. But it says the investigation is being supervised by the U.S. Attorney in South Florida, Jason Redding Quinones. And you were, I believe you were saying that there might be some tie here, some connection to somebody very interesting in Trump world that kind of explains what's going on here.
Well, yeah, the U.S. Attorney there was nominated. It was promoted by individuals on, the far right of the Republican Party, the folks who are involved with Project 2025. I know that Mike Davis was very supportive of him. And so he's very conservative. And now this case is being reviewed by him down there. And I think this is a case that, like Comey, like Letitia James, will end up nowhere, will be dismissed by a court as vindictive prosecution because they just don't have the goods. This is about whether Brennan lied when he was a witness in August 2020 about whether or not he knew about the Steele dossier and whether he was involved with the Steele dossier. He said, I wasn't involved in any of that stuff. And there was the German
all this Fox News mumbo jumbo, Newsmax, OAN. It's all these conspiracy theories running around in their heads.
Well, that's why Bill Barr put John Durham in charge of a special investigation into the origins of Russia. And John Durham, who wanted to please Bill Barr and President Trump and wanted convictions and eventually failed. They had 2 weak cases, quick acquittals, embarrassment, humiliation. Well, they decided not to charge Brennan. They said there's nothing here. So if Bill Barr and John Durham, whose focus was prosecuting folks like John Brennan, said, no, there's nothing here, how is the case getting stronger 2 years later? Or maybe there's a political motivation to it.
Yeah. And the point is, it seems in a lot of these cases, is just to make their lives difficult, harass them for a window of time to sort of soothe Donald Trump's feelings, whatever he's, these feelings that he has deep down inside that I guess he can't control, these impulses, these retribution impulses or something. I mean, it's a joke.
And, you can get away with it on a podcast. You can't get away with it in a court of law.
Right.
It's going to be a humiliation once the cases against Comey and Letitia James are dismissed before they ever get to a jury. They're not going to a jury. Now, the case against John Bolton is different. It looks like they've got something there. And also it's telling that was indicted by the career prosecutors involved with national security, not the Lindsay Halligan, who had never prosecuted a case before, who was Trump's insurance lawyer and who had to do it on her own because the career prosecutors said no. The Bolton case is different. But here's the thing. Once you go down the road of vindictive prosecutions over here, Jim, it infects the real prosecutions over there. So John Bolton's best friend is Jim Comey and Letitia James, because that could give him a get out of jail free card here.
Right. Bolton can just say, hey, it's happening to me too. And perhaps it is. We don't know. We'll see how the facts are laid out in that case. But Dave, always great to see you. Thanks so much. And hold the mayo.
Hey, thank you. Can I plug my Substack?
Always, please. It's right there at Dave Aronberg. Don't forget, folks, Dave is new to Substack, relatively new to Substack. We all need to subscribe and follow Dave because we always enjoy his legal analysis on MSNBC is one of those great places. and here as well.
Love being on your show, Jim. Keep up the great work in independent media, and let's do it again.
We'll do it again. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.